What's up, guys? Today I have yet another success story for my Sync Edge program. Today with me for this video chat is Fuller. Fuller is a producer that's actually already had some of his music in various music libraries, but he still signed up with Sync Edge because he was looking for some libraries that were paying upfront consideration fees. And I think it was in 4 or 5 days, he found one with the Sync Edge program, and he submitted some music that was perfect for what they were looking for, and they accepted him. And now he's actually made more than his initial investment in the Sync Edge program. So I love getting these emails. These are always the reasons why I do this, is to see that you guys actually expanding your networks and expanding the libraries that you guys get accepted in. So this is Fuller. Fuller, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, thanks, Jesse, man. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. And why don't you just sort of walk us through your experience with Sync Edge, getting signed up, watching some of the videos, and what was it that, watching this particular library, the recommendation video, what was it that made you feel like, yeah, I think my music can be great for them?
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say I've been watching your videos, Jesse, for over a year now. I just appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the content that you're giving out. And so it's been kind of an encouragement, because this business can be lonely. Most of us are working from our home studios, and we can kind of feel in isolation. So to have a person to connect with online is really cool. So I appreciate what you've done already. And for me, I've been, I'm in several libraries now that are getting me decent placements. But I've been looking to get into some libraries that are paying upfront fees, like you mentioned. So I figured, what the heck, take the step. And I would rather spend my time producing music than hunting down a bunch of libraries. So you've already done that work for us. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I got your program, and literally I got it about 4 days ago. And since we're filming this video about 4 days ago, I've been building a deck with my family, so I haven't had much time. So yesterday, I went through the videos. I saw one of the libraries that you had mentioned that kind of, tickled my fancy, genre, style. And then you mentioned that it paid an upfront fee. So I was like, that's the one I'm going to try for. And I just happened to have a few tracks that were available. I literally sent the email at about 5 and did all of the, things you suggest. I want to serve you. I want to provide for you, typical stuff. Sent them 6 tracks. Within an hour and a half, President emailed me back and said, hey, I want these 4 tracks. Already uploaded him the stems, did that last night. He's got the stems, he's got all the mixes, contracts on the way, and I'm pretty excited about it, man. So it was a cool experience for me to be able to get into a new library without really having to do any legwork. Time is money. And so that's been a really cool thing for me to experience that.
That's a really good point that Fuller pointed out there, that like, if you're a producer watching this video, your job is to make music. That's the only thing you're supposed to be doing in this business. And if you're spending weeks, months, researching, trying to find those companies, that is time spent away from doing what you should be doing, which is building up your catalog and creating very licensable music. So that's something I've never actually articulated as well as Fuller did here, which is that this kind of a service is meant to do exactly that, is to let you do what you're supposed to do and get that research out of the way. And then you can basically just kind of perusing through like a shopping cart on Amazon.com. You can decide which one of these libraries seems like it's going to be a good fit for you. Which ones do you feel have the kind of clients that you want to get placements with, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a great example for, even if you have some music out there like Fuller does, he also wanted to get into new catalogs, into new libraries that maybe provided for some of those upfront consideration fees. Now, the one caveat I will say is that obviously the bigger bulk of your income is going to come in the long run through your passive income royalties, but it is nice to get a little check here and there from the libraries that you're submitting to. So even if you put out, 5 or 10 tracks to a library in a given month, that's a good little chunk of change if they're giving you 50 or 100 bucks a track, right? That can actually add up to pay some of your bills. So don't get me wrong, like, don't discount those kind of consideration fees that can definitely help you in the sort of short term, but always remember that the long-term play is not with those consideration fees. It's always with those long-term building of your placements, building of your relationships. And just like Fuller here is doing, he's got his music in a few different outlets. And so it's like he's competing with himself out there, right? It's like this library and this library might be also going for the same clients, but either way, he's going to win because he has his music in all these different outlets. So it's a really cool thing to see this happening, to see this kind of success. And obviously within an hour and a half, he's getting an email back from the president of a company That's how fast it can happen, guys. It doesn't need to be this sort of, you know, pipe dream that you think, only the super, super lucky, talented, successful people get that. Yeah, Fuller, myself, we're just average guys. You know, we just have our home studios, and we're just hard workers. That's really what it comes down to. And when we submit music the right way, the smart way, we get success stories like this. So thank you so much, Fuller. If you can leave us with a little bit of some words of wisdom to somebody that might be in your position, that's had some music out there, maybe even some limited success in the licensing business, what you would say recommended go forward to, you know, increase their catalog and decrease their you know, relationships in this industry?
Yeah, well, you know, for me, the summer is a downtime. And so if you're watching this video now in the summertime, now's a great time to jump on this, because if you are in libraries, the briefs are kind of slowing down right now until the fall. So it's a great time to build new relationships. And so I think that's an important thing. And the other thing is just to, you know, there's a couple more libraries that you did videos for, Jesse, that I'm going to submit to, but I don't feel like I'm quite ready yet. There's one library in particular where that's my dream library, but I'm not ready. And I know I'm not ready, so I'm going to take some time. And, you know, having you kind of go through and point out some things was really helpful. And so I would encourage you producers out there, when you do find the library you want, just be realistic and make sure you only send them your best stuff. You know, even with this library, I had about 10 tracks, but I was like, I'm not going to send these 4. I wanted to put my best foot forward. So, you know, save your best stuff for your submissions. You want that. I've noticed, and you probably know this, Jesse, from experiences, that first step is always the one where you want your best stuff. After that, after you build the relationship, the bar drops a little bit, you know, and they just know you and you get this working relationship. But those first few tracks, you got to really, if they're not ready, take some time, take a couple weeks, make them ready, make them, you know, listen to those reference tracks that Jesse plays in the video, compare your stuff. Maybe you're just missing a few things. Take the time, add those things, tweak it so that you're putting your best foot forward. And I think that's what's going to really secure that offer.
Absolutely, man. And that's one of those services that I do provide in it that I've mentioned a little bit about. But yeah, I do actually go through the catalogs of the libraries I'm recommending, and I will hit play on many of the tracks. And when I hear weaknesses or things that I feel could be updated or modernized in some way or just improved upon, I try to point those out to you guys so you guys can see exactly how to make sure that your submissions, just like Fuller was saying, just blow them away and absolutely impress them and make them go, wow, like this really will increase the value of our catalog for our clients. And that's probably one of the biggest issues that a lot of producers run into, which is submitting music before it's really ready to be submitted and just kind of throwing things out there and hoping it sticks. It's really not a smart way to do it because it's a 50-50 shot. Sometimes you might be having something that they like, but most of the time it's just not going to be up to par with what they want. It won't be relevant for what their catalog sounds like and looks like in the current moment. So just like what Fuller was recommending there, take your time, like make sure that you've really analyze your track. You're being honest with yourself. If you can't hit play on your track and then one of the reference tracks or one of the library tracks and say, yeah, they're in the same category, they're kind of in the same ballpark. If you can't honestly say that, then it's not ready. And you do need to take that time to make those improvements, adjust the mixes, adjust the productions, update your sounds. That's always the number one issue. Most people are just using, you guys, probably a lot of you guys have great musical ideas. You probably don't have bad mixing or mastering skills, but you're using just, you know, crappy piano sounds, crappy guitar sounds, crappy drum sounds. Everything sounds kind of synthetic, fake, kind of like it came from a keyboard preset, like a Casio keyboard, some cheap keyboard, right? That's the kind of stuff that it's too competitive in this industry these days to get away with that kind of thing. Maybe 15 years ago, you could have done something like that. These days, everything needs to sound great, needs to sound almost like completely live, as if a live band recorded it. And you can achieve that. There's a lot of great sounds and sampler libraries and all that out there. You can absolutely get there, but you do have to sort of invest the time and energy to make sure that your tracks are there and ready to submit. So Fuller, thank you so much, man, for your time today and for sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jesse. And I appreciate what you're doing, man.